Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail, a complete hiking guide. By Brian Hamilton. The Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail offers an unforgettable adventure in Colorado's Indian Peaks wilderness. Experience breathtaking views, alpine meadows, and challenging terrain on this iconic high-altitude hike. Introduction. As you ascend toward Devil's Thumb Pass, the towering peaks of the Indian Peaks wilderness loom ahead, their jagged outlines silhouetted against a cobalt sky. The air is crisp, the trail steep, and with each step, the world below shrinks, an endless expanse of pine forests and alpine meadows gradually giving way to rocky outcrops and rugged terrain. It's a feeling of being at the edge of the world, alone with the vastness of the Colorado Rockies. The sense of solitude is palpable, a humbling reminder of nature's raw beauty and untamed power. The Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail is not for the faint of heart. Spanning 16 miles with an elevation gain of over 3,100 feet, this hike is a true test of endurance and strength. It's difficult, challenging, and requires a steady pace and good physical conditioning. But the effort is worth every drop of sweat. From lush forests and vibrant wildflower meadows to the exposed alpine tundra and stunning panoramic views, the trail offers a diverse range of landscapes that keep you engaged every step of the way. This loop trail is often considered a bucket list hike for those looking to experience the full spectrum of Colorado's wilderness. It's not just the varied ecosystems that make it special. The towering granite peaks, glacial valleys, and the serene King Lake tucked in a high basin also provide some of the most breathtaking vistas you'll encounter in the Indian Peaks wilderness. The sense of accomplishment when you reach Devil's Thumb Pass and survey the vast landscape below is unmatched. I first hiked this trail during a crisp autumn morning, and standing at the pass, watching the first light hit the peaks, it felt as if the whole world had been painted just for me. It was a reminder that the mountains are both unforgiving and beautiful, a place where nature's grandeur can be felt deeply. From the Hesse trailhead to the summit of Devil's Thumb Pass, this journey offers not only physical challenge but an emotional connection to the landscape. Let's begin our exploration at the trailhead, where the adventure truly starts. Explore the stunning landscapes of the Indian Peaks wilderness in our article series, highlighting the best hiking trails, hidden gems, and breathtaking alpine vistas waiting to be discovered. Trailhead location and geography. The Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail begins at the Hesse trailhead, located just outside the mountain town of Nederland, Colorado. Situated 2.5 miles south of Nederland on the Peak-to-Peak Highway, U.S. Highway 119, the trailhead is the gateway to some of the most pristine wilderness in the Indian Peaks wilderness area. To reach it, take the Hesse Road turnoff south of town and follow the dirt road up to the trailhead. Keep in mind that Hesse Road is often rough and can be challenging for vehicles without high clearance. For those with standard vehicles, parking can be tricky, but during peak hiking season, a free shuttle service from Nederland makes access easier, alleviating the parking congestion at the trailhead. Upon arriving at the Hesse trailhead, you're immediately enveloped by the peace and quiet of the high mountain wilderness. The trailhead sits at an elevation of about 9,200 feet, making it a prime starting point for hiking into the heart of the Indian Peaks. The area offers panoramic views of the surrounding peaks, with jagged ridgelines and distant summits forming a dramatic backdrop. The air is fresh and thin, a reminder that you're about to enter a high-altitude environment, so it's essential to take the time to acclimate before beginning your hike. The Hesse trailhead is nestled in a valley surrounded by steep, forested slopes and distant peaks. To the east, you can catch glimpses of the northernmost reaches of the Indian Peaks, including rugged summits like Mount Audubon and the Wild Basin area. To the west, the more rounded, alpine ridgelines stretch out, inviting exploration. The combination of dense forests, towering rock faces, and alpine meadows sets the stage for the diverse landscapes you'll soon encounter on your journey. As you begin your hike, the trail immediately enters a thick forest of Engelmann spruce and subalpine fir. The ground is soft with a mix of pine needles and scattered wildflowers, and the air is cool, shaded by the towering trees. The first steps are easy to follow, with the trail winding gently through the dense forest. As you ascend, the landscape starts to shift. The forest begins to thin, and you'll soon begin to notice the elevation gain as the trail steepens, setting the tone for the adventure that lies ahead. Track your adventure with the Sky Blue Explorers Club. Your journey doesn't end here. Log your hike and connect with a community of explorers on Strava. The Sky Blue Explorers Club is where outdoor enthusiasts like you come together to share their stories, track their adventures, and challenge themselves to new heights. Join today and be part of a growing movement of hikers and endurance adventurers who live for the trail. Click here to join the Sky Blue Explorers Club on Strava. Adventure awaits, let's move together. Geology of the trail area. The geology of the Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail reveals an ancient and awe-inspiring story, one that stretches back billions of years. The region is part of the Colorado Front Range, a mountain range that rises dramatically from the plains and is a striking example of the geological forces that have shaped much of the western United States. The bedrock in this area dates back to the Precambrian period, more than 1.7 billion years ago, when tectonic forces began to build the foundation of the rugged peaks that dominate the landscape today. These ancient rocks have witnessed the immense power of plate tectonics, glaciations, and erosion, and the resulting features are still visible along the trail. The bedrock in the Indian Peaks wilderness is composed primarily of crystalline rocks, including granite, gneiss, and schist. Granite, a coarse-grained rock composed mostly of quartz and feldspar, is the most prominent and forms the foundational mass of the mountains. The gneiss, which is a metamorphic rock formed from the alteration of granite under intense pressure and heat, appears in striking, banded layers throughout the region. Schist, another metamorphic rock, is also found here, particularly in areas of tectonic activity where it was formed from the compression of earlier sedimentary rocks. These three types of rock are the product of immense geological forces that were at work long before the rise of the mountains we see today. As you hike the Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop, the striking presence of granite outcrops and gneiss formations becomes immediately apparent. The massive, angular boulders that line the trail's path and the jagged ridgelines are all part of this ancient bedrock. The weathered surface of these rocks tells the tale of the immense forces that push the Earth's crust upward, forming the peaks and valleys that now characterize the landscape. As you approach Devil's Thumb Pass, these formations are especially visible, with the rough, exposed granite providing a vivid record of the region's geologic history. One of the most iconic geological features along the trail is Devil's Thumb itself, a towering spire of rock that juts out above the landscape. This spire is not merely a striking visual feature but also an important geological landmark. The thumb was shaped by both tectonic uplift and erosion, forces that have slowly carved the rock over millions of years. Glaciers that once filled the region also played a key role in shaping Devil's Thumb, carving the surrounding ridges and valleys into the forms we see today. The thumb's shape is a testament to the combination of tectonic forces and glacial carving that defines the region's dramatic landscape. Glacial influence is one of the most significant factors that shaped the Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake area. During the last ice age, massive glaciers moved through the region, scouring the land and carving out valleys, cirques, and moraines. The U-shaped valleys that are so characteristic of glacial landscapes are evident along the trail, especially as you ascend toward Devil's Thumb Pass. The trail itself crosses areas where glacial deposits, such as large boulders and smooth rocks, are scattered across the landscape, providing hikers with tangible evidence of the glaciers that once dominated the region. King Lake, situated high in a glacial basin, is a perfect example of a glacial tarn, a lake that was formed in a basin carved out by a glacier. As the glacier retreated, it left behind a depression in the landscape that slowly filled with water, creating the serene lake we see today. The lake is surrounded by rocky cliffs, and the valley around it is a textbook example of glacial erosion, with exposed rock faces and sharp ridgelines standing as silent witnesses to the forces that shaped this area over thousands of years. Along the trail, hikers will encounter several notable geological sites that showcase the region's history. As you climb toward Devil's Thumb Pass, look for distinct ridgelines where the layers of gneiss and granite are clearly visible, often marked by fault lines that run through the rock. These fault lines are the result of the tectonic activity that caused the uplift of the Front Range and are a clear indication of the Earth's dynamic past. Erosion patterns are also visible throughout the hike, smooth, rounded rock faces that have been shaped by wind, water, and ice over millennia. These subtle yet powerful signs of geological change are a reminder of the immense forces at work in this region. Hikers can spot various layers of rock as they ascend, particularly where the trail passes over exposed ridges and rocky outcrops. The deep layers of gneiss often show striations from ancient folding, where the rocks were compressed and shifted during tectonic collisions. These visible layers not only reveal the age of the rocks but also provide insights into the region's deep geological history. The darker, finer layers of schist contrast with the lighter granite, creating a striking visual display that highlights the dynamic forces that have shaped this landscape. As you make your way up the trail, take a moment to pause and observe the geology around you. The layers of rock, the fault lines, and the glacial formations all tell a story that spans billions of years, a story that unfolds with every step you take on the Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail. Discover adventure, dive into Beyond the Sky Blue Horizon, a new podcast from Sky Blue Overland. Hosted by Brian Hamilton, it's your guide to exploring destinations, reviewing gear, and getting expert advice. Perfect for every outdoor enthusiast. Listen now on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube Podcasts. Subscribe now and take your first step into the stories and adventures that lie beyond the horizon. Ecology in the trail area. The Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail takes hikers through a remarkable array of ecosystems, each more distinct than the last. From the dense, shaded forests at the lower elevations to the exposed alpine tundra and the serene wetlands surrounding King Lake, the trail provides an immersive experience in some of the most ecologically diverse environments in the Indian Peaks wilderness. The changing landscapes along the trail are not just visually striking, they also support a wide variety of plant and animal species, many of which are uniquely adapted to the harsh conditions of Colorado's high mountains. Introduction to the ecological zones. The trail passes through several distinct ecological zones as you ascend in elevation. Starting in the lush subalpine forests, hikers gradually transition through vibrant alpine meadows and finally reach the sparse, wind-battered tundra at higher altitudes. Each zone supports a unique community of plants and animals, providing a fascinating look at life in the high country. Lower elevations, subalpine forests. At the beginning of the trail, the path winds through thick subalpine forests dominated by Engelmann spruce and subalpine fir. These towering conifers create a dense canopy that offers both shade and shelter to the flora and fauna beneath. The cool, moist conditions at this lower elevation are perfect for these tree species, which thrive in the rocky soils and higher rainfall typical of the subalpine zone. Beneath the trees, a carpet of ferns, wildflowers, and mosses blankets the forest floor. Wildlife here is abundant, with black bears, mule deer, and smaller mammals such as squirrels, chipmunks, and porcupines. Birdwatchers will find this area particularly rewarding, as species like the mountain chickadee, red-breasted nuthatch, and the lively blue grouse call this region home. The deep, quiet forests create a sense of seclusion, offering a peaceful atmosphere as you begin your hike. The occasional rustle of leaves, the chirp of birds, and the distant sound of running streams provide a soothing soundtrack to the early stages of your journey. This tranquil environment sets the tone for the rest of the trail, offering hikers a moment of calm before the more physically demanding sections of the hike. It's easy to lose yourself in the peaceful solitude of these forests, surrounded by towering trees and the natural rhythm of the forest. Transition to alpine meadows. As you ascend toward Devil's Thumb Pass, the forest gradually gives way to alpine meadows, which bloom with wildflowers in the summer months. The transition from forest to meadow is marked by a gradual thinning of the trees and an explosion of color as columbine, lupin, Indian paintbrush, and other wildflowers cover the ground. These meadows provide vital habitat for a variety of pollinators, including bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds, all of which are attracted to the vibrant flowers that bloom in the short summer months. The meadows are alive with the sound of insects buzzing and birds calling. The air is filled with the scent of wildflowers, and the entire landscape seems to hum with activity. For wildlife, these meadows offer rich resources in terms of food and shelter. Deer, elk, and the occasional moose can be spotted grazing on the lush grasses, while smaller mammals such as ground squirrels and voles scurry through the vegetation. The meadows also support a variety of birds, including western meadowlarks and warblers, which use the open space to hunt insects. The soundscape changes dramatically as you enter the meadows. The quiet stillness of the forest is replaced by the buzzing of bees, the chirping of insects, and the occasional call of a bird. This lively atmosphere provides a stark contrast to the forest's calm, reminding hikers of the abundance of life that thrives in these high-altitude meadows. Alpine tundra. As you approach the higher elevations near Devil's Thumb Pass, the landscape shifts once again, this time to the harsh, exposed alpine tundra. The trees are gone, and the open expanse is covered in low-growing plants that have adapted to survive in the windswept, icy conditions of the tundra. Here, the growing season is short, and the plants are small but resilient, including hardy mosses, lichens, and low shrubs like mountain heather and alpine willows. The alpine tundra is a place where the forces of nature are on full display. Winds whip across the open landscape, and the temperatures are often much colder than at lower elevations. The soil is thin, rocky, and often frozen, making it difficult for plants to grow. But the plants that do thrive here have adapted to these conditions, with some species growing in dense mats to protect themselves from the cold, and others having evolved to conserve moisture during the dry summer months. Wildlife here is sparse but incredibly well adapted to survive in the harsh conditions. Marmots, pikas, and the occasional mountain goat are among the most commonly spotted animals. Pikas, in particular, are well known for their ability to survive the extreme cold, storing food in their burrows to last through the long winters. Marmots are often seen sunning themselves on rocks or foraging in the meadows for food. Keep an eye out for mountain goats that may be spotted on the rocky outcrops, navigating the steep, rugged terrain with ease. The tundra is a stark and beautiful place, where life hangs on in the face of challenging conditions. The quiet stillness is broken only by the occasional call of a bird or the rustle of a marmot in the rocks. It's a landscape that feels both harsh and serene, and it offers a true sense of the wildness and beauty of the high mountains. King Lake and wetlands. As you descend toward King Lake, the environment shifts again, this time to a high-altitude wetland ecosystem. King Lake, nestled in a glacial basin, is a peaceful body of water surrounded by steep cliffs and alpine meadows. The lake is home to a variety of aquatic life, including small fish and insects, and serves as an important stopover for migratory birds, particularly waterfowl. The wetland areas around King Lake are rich in biodiversity, with cattails, sedges, and other water-loving plants lining the shore. These wetlands play a crucial role in the health of the entire ecosystem, filtering water, providing habitat for wildlife, and supporting a variety of plant species that thrive in the moist conditions. The lake and its surrounding wetlands are vital for the health of the region, helping to maintain the balance of the ecosystem by providing nutrients and shelter for various species of animals. King Lake is also a haven for birdwatchers. In addition to the waterfowl, you may spot osprey, eagles, and other birds of prey that soar above the lake, hunting for fish or small mammals. The peaceful surroundings make it an ideal spot for rest and reflection, and the cool, clear waters of the lake provide a refreshing respite from the challenging hike. As you make your way along the Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail, you'll experience the full spectrum of high-altitude ecosystems. From the lush forests of the lower elevations to the barren beauty of the alpine tundra, and finally to the peaceful wetlands around King Lake, the trail offers a deep connection to the diverse and resilient ecosystems of the Indian Peaks wilderness. Each zone is a testament to the adaptability of life in the high Rockies, and each offers a unique experience for hikers lucky enough to witness its beauty. Trail description. Start at Hesse Trailhead. The Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail begins at the Hesse Trailhead, a quiet starting point nestled in the heart of the Indian Peaks wilderness. As you approach the trailhead, the sounds of rushing streams fill the air, adding to the anticipation of the adventure ahead. The scent of pine and fresh mountain air is invigorating, the cool breeze cutting through the trees as if the mountains themselves are welcoming you. The excitement of setting off on this epic journey is palpable, and for a brief moment, the trail feels like a secret only you and the wilderness share. At an elevation of about 9,200 feet, the Hesse Trailhead is surrounded by towering conifers, their thick trunks and deep green needles standing like silent sentinels. The gentle hum of nature, birdsong, the rustle of leaves, and the occasional chattering of squirrels greets you as you step onto the trail. With each breath, the landscape becomes more real, and the promise of adventure grows stronger. This is the moment when the wilderness begins to unfold before you, and every step on the trail is the start of something deeper, something transformative. The first few miles, ascending through the forest. As you begin your ascent, the trail gently winds through dense forests of Engelmann spruce and subalpine fir. The path is well marked, but the challenge is already present. The climb is gradual yet steady. The ground is soft beneath your boots, covered in pine needles, ferns, and the occasional wildflower, their muted colors blending with the green around you. The air is cool and fresh, though the elevation gain quickly reminds you that you're heading higher into the mountains. With each step, you can hear the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant sound of a creek flowing nearby. Occasionally, the trail crosses over small streams, their cold waters tumbling over rocks and mosses, providing a refreshing backdrop to the otherwise serene forest atmosphere. These sounds are the soundtrack to your early journey, and they help to set the rhythm of the hike. There's a sense of peace here, an isolation from the outside world that enhances the experience. The trail isn't flat, and soon you begin to encounter small switchbacks that gradually increase the difficulty. These early inclines are a good introduction to what's ahead, nothing too strenuous but enough to start warming you up and testing your endurance. The switchbacks help to ease the grade of the forest path, but the steady climb starts to reveal the challenges of the trail ahead. Each turn brings you a bit higher, and with each step, the weight of your pack starts to remind you that this is not a leisurely walk in the woods. This is a journey that will demand focus, stamina, and determination. The journey to Devil's Thumb Pass. As the trail continues, the forest begins to thin out, and the climb intensifies. The switchbacks become steeper and more frequent as you gain elevation, and the rocky terrain forces you to pay close attention to your footing. The path turns from soft earth to more uneven rocks and loose gravel, requiring more careful navigation. Each step upward takes more effort, and the air grows thinner, making each breath slightly harder than the one before. But as the trail climbs, the rewards start to reveal themselves. The dense forest begins to open up, and glimpses of the surrounding peaks and valleys appear through breaks in the trees. The higher you go, the more expansive the views become. To the east, jagged ridgelines and towering summits emerge, their snow-capped peaks gleaming in the morning sun. The valley below, once a dense forest, now begins to look like a lush, green quilt, stitched together by winding streams and rocky outcrops. The final push to Devil's Thumb Pass is a more intense challenge. The trail becomes rockier and steeper, with sections where you must scramble over boulders and navigate narrow paths with loose rocks. Your heart beats faster as you make the final ascent, and your legs begin to feel the strain of the climb. But when you reach the pass, all the effort is worth it. Standing at the top of Devil's Thumb Pass, the views are absolutely breathtaking. The crisp mountain air fills your lungs as you look out over the vast expanse of the Indian Peaks wilderness. To the west, the jagged peaks of the Continental Divide seem to stretch endlessly, their snow-covered summits contrasting sharply with the deep blue sky above. Below, the valleys and forests you just passed through now look distant and small. It's a dramatic reminder of the immense scale of the wilderness around you, and the sense of accomplishment is palpable. Standing at the pass, you are surrounded by the rugged beauty of the Rockies, feeling as if you're standing on top of the world. Descending to King Lake. After taking a moment to soak in the panorama, the trail begins its descent toward King Lake. The change in terrain is immediate. The sharp, rocky ridgelines give way to gentler slopes as the trail leads down into a glacial basin. The vegetation shifts, with the dense forests giving way to more open spaces. The alpine meadows that line the path are dotted with wildflowers, their vibrant colors contrasting beautifully with the muted tones of the surrounding landscape. As you make your way down, the views continue to change, offering new perspectives of the surrounding peaks. The descent is steep at times, requiring a bit more caution as you navigate loose rock and uneven ground. The path leads you to a series of switchbacks that gradually soften the grade, and as you round the corner, you catch your first glimpse of King Lake, its calm, reflective surface framed by rugged cliffs. The lake looks serene and almost untouched, nestled at the base of the towering peaks. It's the perfect place to stop, rest, and take in the surrounding beauty. Around King Lake. The area around King Lake is a tranquil oasis. The lake, formed by the retreat of a glacier, is a striking blue-green in color, its surface almost mirror-like. The surrounding cliffs reflect perfectly in the water, creating a stunning symmetry that invites moments of reflection and awe. Birds flit around the shores of the lake, and you might even spot a few fish breaking the surface as they swim in the cool, clear waters. The peaceful atmosphere here is a welcome contrast to the physical exertion of the climb, and the lake provides the perfect spot for a rest. There are several excellent places around the lake to sit and enjoy a picnic, surrounded by the beauty of the high-altitude landscape. The surrounding alpine meadows are full of life, with insects buzzing from flower to flower, and the air is thick with the scent of wildflowers and fresh water. This is a place where time seems to slow down, and the peaceful surroundings invite contemplation. Many hikers choose to linger here, taking in the quiet and the beauty of the area before continuing on. The final stretch of the trail. After resting by King Lake, it's time to complete the loop and begin the final stretch of the hike back to the Hesse trailhead. The return path takes you through more alpine meadows and forests, following the same route that brought you to the lake. The trail is slightly easier on the way down, but there are still sections that require careful footing, especially as the path descends toward the lower elevations. As you make your way back through the familiar forests, the sense of completion sets in. The switchbacks seem less daunting, and the familiar sounds of the creek and rustling leaves feel like a comforting welcome. The final miles of the hike provide a moment of reflection, as you leave the rugged mountain landscapes behind and return to the serene beauty of the valley below. When you finally arrive back at the Hesse trailhead, you've completed an unforgettable journey through one of Colorado's most beautiful and rugged wilderness areas. The sense of accomplishment lingers, and the memory of the breathtaking views, the challenging terrain, and the serenity of King Lake will stay with you long after the hike is over. Planning. Physical preparation. The Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail is a challenging 16-mile hike with a significant elevation gain of around 3,100 feet. Given its difficulty, this hike is best suited for experienced hikers in good physical condition. The terrain is demanding, with rocky sections, switchbacks, and a steep ascent that becomes more taxing as you gain elevation. While the first few miles of the trail are relatively moderate, the final push to the pass and the descent to King Lake requires stamina, balance, and careful footing. To ensure you're physically prepared, it's important to train for both endurance and elevation. If you're not accustomed to long hikes or high-altitude trails, consider practicing on shorter, less strenuous hikes in the area beforehand. These hikes will help you adjust to the altitude and build the stamina needed for longer, more demanding trails. You should aim for a few hikes of around 6 to 8 miles with moderate elevation gain to mimic the conditions you'll face on the loop. Additionally, consider strength training exercises focused on your legs, core, and balance to prepare for rocky and uneven terrain. Acclimating to the elevation is also crucial. The trailhead starts at about 9,200 feet, and as you gain elevation, the air thins, which can lead to altitude sickness. To minimize the risks, arrive a day or two early to acclimate by hiking shorter trails in the area or simply spending time at higher elevations. Staying hydrated and taking breaks along the trail can help combat the effects of altitude as well. Weather and timing. The best time to hike the Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail is from late summer through early fall, July to mid-October. This period ensures that the trail is free of snow, and you'll experience clear trail conditions without the danger of icy paths. However, hiking in the high mountains means you must be prepared for rapidly changing weather, regardless of the time of year. Afternoon thunderstorms are common in the Colorado Rockies, particularly in the summer months. These storms can develop quickly and bring lightning, heavy rain, and cooler temperatures. To avoid being caught in a storm, aim to start your hike early in the morning. This will give you plenty of time to complete the trail before the storms typically begin around midday or early afternoon. At higher elevations, temperatures can drop dramatically, even in summer, so it's essential to bring layers. Pack a lightweight, moisture-wicking base layer, a warm mid-layer, such as a fleece or down jacket, and a waterproof, windproof outer layer to protect against the elements. Even in summer, snow can appear at higher altitudes, especially around Devil's Thumb Pass, so be prepared for unexpected cold weather. Essential gear. Proper gear is essential for making the most of this demanding hike. Start with sturdy hiking boots that provide good ankle support and are suitable for rocky, uneven terrain. The trail includes loose gravel and steep sections that demand traction and stability, so boots with a grippy sole are key. Trekking poles can significantly reduce strain on your knees, especially during the steep ascent and descent. They also provide stability on rocky or slippery sections, reducing the risk of falls. Navigation is another important consideration. While the Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail is generally well marked, some sections above the tree line can be confusing, especially during poor visibility or fog. A map, a GPS device, or a smartphone with a trail app such as All Trails is strongly recommended. The trail has several junctions, and in the alpine zone, markers can be sparse, so having a navigation tool is vital to stay on track. Water and snacks are critical. The long hike, combined with elevation gain, can quickly lead to dehydration and fatigue. Carry at least 3 liters of water, especially if you're hiking in warm weather, and take regular sips along the way. High-energy snacks such as nuts, granola bars, or trail mix will help fuel your body, especially on the more strenuous sections of the hike. Logistical considerations. Parking can be a challenge at the Hesse trailhead, especially during peak hiking season, late summer to early fall. The trailhead has limited parking, and during busy weekends, spaces can fill up quickly. A great alternative is the free shuttle service from Netherlands, which operates during peak season and takes hikers directly to the trailhead. This service alleviates the stress of finding parking and ensures that the area remains accessible even during crowded times. As for permits and regulations, the trail is located within the Indian Peaks Wilderness, and no special permits are required for day hiking. However, it's important to check trail conditions before heading out. During certain times of the year, parts of the trail may be closed due to snow, wildlife activity, or trail maintenance. Always check the latest information on the U.S. Forest Service website or local ranger stations before embarking on your hike. Before you start your journey, ensure that your gear is in good condition, and familiarize yourself with the trail's sections and potential hazards. While this is a well-maintained trail, it's always wise to be prepared for the unexpected. Whether it's sudden weather changes or the physical challenge of the terrain, preparation is key to having a safe and enjoyable hike. Conclusion. The Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail is a journey that embodies the spirit of adventure, offering both immense challenges and unparalleled rewards. From the moment you step onto the trail at Hesse Trailhead, the beauty of the surrounding forests, valleys, and peaks unfolds in layers, each more breathtaking than the last. The gradual ascent through dense forests and alpine meadows eventually leads to the awe-inspiring Devil's Thumb Pass, where the vista of jagged peaks and expansive valleys makes every ounce of effort feel worth it. The sense of accomplishment at reaching the pass is profound, as you stand at the threshold of the Indian Peaks Wilderness, gazing across one of Colorado's most rugged and beautiful landscapes. But the trail offers more than just physical achievement, it also provides a peaceful refuge in King Lake. The serenity of the lake, surrounded by towering cliffs and wildflower meadows, gives hikers the chance to pause, rest, and connect with the natural world on a deeper level. It's here, in the stillness, where the true emotional rewards of the hike begin to reveal themselves. The Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail isn't just a test of physical endurance, it's an opportunity to reconnect with nature in its rawest form. The rugged terrain, the shifting ecosystems, and the majestic views all remind us of the power and beauty of the natural world, evoking a sense of humility and awe. This trail invites you to leave behind the distractions of daily life and immerse yourself in the wilderness, offering not only physical benefits but also mental and emotional rejuvenation. For those seeking an unforgettable adventure and a chance to experience the unspoiled grandeur of the Colorado Rockies, the Devil's Thumb Pass and King Lake Loop Trail is waiting. Step onto the trail and let nature transform you in ways you never expected. Enroll with Global Rescue prior to embarking on your next adventure. When a travel emergency arises, traditional travel insurance may not come to your aid, and a medical evacuation can cost up to $300,000. The cost when you have a Global Rescue membership? $0. That's why when the unexpected happens, you want the leader in rescue, evacuation, and medical advisory behind you. You want Global Rescue. Learn more. Terms of use. As with each guide published on skybluebeaverland.com, should you choose to these routes, do so at your own risk. Prior to setting out, check current local weather, conditions, and land/road closures. While taking a trail, obey all public and private land use restrictions and rules, carry proper safety and navigational equipment, and of course, follow the #LevenoTrace guidelines. The information found herein is simply a planning resource to be used as a point of inspiration in conjunction with your own due diligence. In spite of the fact that this route, associated GPS track, GPX and maps, and all route guidelines were prepared under diligent research by the specified contributor and/or contributors, the accuracy of such and judgment of the author is not guaranteed. Sky Blue Overland LLC, its partners, associates, and contributors are in no way liable for personal injury, damage to personal property, or any other such situation that might happen to individuals following this route. What to read next? The Devil's Highway. Slaint, highlighting the Old Man of Store. Epic adventures await. Discover the thrills and charms of Prescott. Adventurer's Guide to Kings Canyon National Park, California. Adventurer's Guide to the Indian Peaks Wilderness, Colorado.